Most of my clients, especially in the migrant community, live with this kind of a life where it is mostly uncertain. They don't know when the pain triggers. They don't know what happens next. They don't know what will shoot up the, trigger pain. They have a life of uncertainty, and they have to call off plans. They have to call off trips. They can't promise the dates. They can't promise the appointments and schedules. So what do you have for people who have all kinds of uncertainty coming up ahead in their lives?
I've heard people say, I'm never gonna love another person again, or I'm never gonna be in another relationship again because they felt cheated, or they had a breakup or a heartbreak or something. Most of the time, it's not you, or it's not just the entire woman, or say it's not just the whole generalistic thing. It might be that just that context. Maybe there is absolutely maybe no control of what the things are. So it is very mandatory for you to go back to the roots, understand why the things are the way they are, or why do you have a certain thought and stuff.
I always tell my patients that these kind of headaches and the chronic pains which people are suffering are actually the universe's way of putting you through pain, and so that you give attention to what is hurting, give attention to what is haunting still, and give attention to what needs to be healed inside of you.
It is said that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is what you do when you're scared.
Today on Heads Up, we have here with us someone whose journey is nothing short of inspiring. An entrepreneur, public speaker, mentor, and educator, all deeply rooted in his passion for helping people grow. None other than the host of India's top-rated self-improvement podcast, Mallu Show, Rizwan Ramzan. Welcome, Rizwan, to the show Heads Up.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Rizwan, as we start this talk today, can you brief us on the story of your life, where you have been? I know it's a long journey, but I would let the audience listen to you first before I go into something else.
So I think I was genuinely a very curious person from my early childhood. I've been very fortunate to be born into a parents who didn't try to control my life.
Okay.
So I had the total freedom of experimenting and doing things from my early childhood. They didn't interfere in mostly any of my decisions. So it was all you do it kind. And I have heard my mom and my grandma say that early on I used to take this bricks, and I used to do certain things.
Okay.
So my uncle used to say it seems like he'll be an engineer kind of thing. But I didn't know then. Maybe it is like a common thing that I was into a lot of things from my early childhood itself.
Okay.
Like I was into painting, I was into arts, I was into writing.
Yeah.
So a lot of interest in a lot of things. And being grown or being brought up in abroad, I had a lot of time to explore my interest, and at a particular time I wanted to come back. I came back, and once I came back, I was a very obese, insecure NRI kind of a kid, and coming here was a very big shift naturally, because growing up in a very different context and coming here, I joined a government school and went on to explore a very different cultural shift here.
Okay.
So that exposed a lot of things, a lot of culture, a lot of people, a lot of trial and errors. And I don't know, I think I started my first venture back in 11th grade, 12th grade. So that was very natural. I just saw an opportunity, just went on to it. And the first venture was basically teaching people drama. So I used to write and teach people drama for youth festivals and stuff. So that was the beginning. It went on for some time. And I was this kind of a person where I had a lot of interest. I'll start something, try for some time, drop it, go for another. And that was the early way of building things for me. So I started a lot of things, quit a lot of things. Then went on to college. In college, one thing that I was very sure from my childhood, or you can call ego or something, but I was very sure that I used to feel not good taking money from my parents as pocket money, whatever. So I was always, back in my head, I was always very clear that I should be doing something.
So that you can make a living. Yeah.
I can make a living. And I used to do this from, say, back in 11th grade, 12th grade. I used to take tuitions and stuff. And once I got into college, I wanted pocket money. So I started, say, second, third, and few ventures. and that went on for some time. Then few I quit, few I started. So that went on to happen, and never in my head it felt like a failure, but I was always struggling with this disease of quitting. So I always know that I'm a big quitter, a big quitter, a big quitter and stuff, and that was there always in the back of the mind, but never it felt like I should quit, because I always had a why, because I should do something, I should make some money, so I should build my own life. And I genuinely, wanted to try a lot of things, had a lot of interest. Maybe, I had felt like I was way beyond mature than my age. I felt very old than my age, while my people of my age were doing some things. I was into very serious stuffs. I was very boring and doing boring stuffs and stuff, things like that. So that eventually pivoted into a lot of things. And I think during COVID, or at the beginning of COVID, that was when my very serious entrepreneurial journey began. By that time, I think I had started and quit more than 6-7 businesses or ventures. And during COVID, I started, like, I had a little bit of savings. I put in all of that and invested a lot of money, and that failed. That was the first big failure, and that brought in a lot of debt and a lot of issues and stuff. So overcoming that was very mandatory, because otherwise I couldn't go further. I was working that time and managing stuff, and at any point of time I had multiple things going on.
So you worked as an employee also?
I was working in Byju's during that time, during COVID. I think right after college I did engineering, computer science engineering, and right after college I joined Byju's. I was working there. Meanwhile, I was building certain stuff.
So it was a parallel journey?
It was a parallel journey. And so that went on. I somehow, or with God's grace, I figured out, I just managed to manage those failures. Started the next thing, certain thing, like, few of them went south because of me. Few of them went because of my like the people that I was associating with. So started and failed so many things, and eventually I quit my full-time job. And during this time, I'll just take I think I'll go back 2 years back. I was going through a very, very, very difficult state in my life. When I was in 12th, we went on a trip, and like just friends, and we met with an accident. I lost a friend, and it was a very difficult time. During that time, like when we were in 11th and 12th, like we were supposed to be tough, and I was managing. But when I reached college, started affecting my day-to-day thoughts, issues, my everything. And it eventually reached a point where I was not able to, manage. And during COVID, it just amplified so much. And that time, I think 2020, I was very fortunate to come across therapy, and I was taking sessions and going through that. So once after that, that phase of my transformation, my inner transformation, I would say, my therapist told me that you should be doing something, for some time, that would change your belief about yourself, that you're always quitting and this. Plus, it will be good for your health, and will be a good distraction, good thing. So after or during that phase, I was already creating videos internally for the company, but I didn't know that I wanted to create videos for myself. And I was sitting in a cafe with my friends. Two kids come to me and asked, "Are you a YouTuber?" I said, "No, I'm not a YouTuber." But that was just a question. They just went. I went home, and during that day, like that night, I was just thinking, what would be the reason for them to ask, "Are you a YouTuber?"
Because what did it pop up like?
I don't know. It felt like it's a sign. This is something I should do. And I went and decided, okay, I'm going to create videos. So I decided that I'm going to create a video every week. So that is how my content journey began. And I was working full time and just creating videos. Every week I was creating videos. Then eventually I started a podcast, and again every week we were, I think for 1.5 years, every week there was an episode going on. It was very consistent. I was just enjoying that process purely. I loved that process.
Yeah.
I quit the job.
That was Malu show.
The Malu show, yeah. And I quit the job eventually. And my plan was to go full time with content, create more episodes, go meaningful and all that. And again, I think once a businessman, always a businessman. So eventually again came to start Hacka, joined Harris & Co. And I and Harris, we both co-founded Hacka. I started driving that, and this is the story so far.
Right.
So very unparalleled, but I would say I've been genuinely exploring a lot of things since childhood. But it's not been comfortable because I was always insecure that I'm not stable, because everything is changing very frequently. Until I came across a term called as Multi-Potentiality. There is this mentor of mine. She told me she came across a term called as Multi-Potentiality. I think you're one among them. I was like, what? Tell me about that. Again, it's like some people, they have multiple potential, multiple interests, they explore that. It's okay that you explore and quit and stuff. And that
is, give you a different perspective.
Of why I do. So now I'm okay with trying and stopping and failing and restarting and doing things. No, I do it. I'm at a phase of my life where I'm going back to all the things that I've quit and restarting those things again and trying to do it. Yeah.
And I've heard you talking in one video that we have a notion in our society that if we have an emotional or mind-related issue, I don't call it mental issue, but psychological issue, we usually jump into a psychiatrist. And I think you have done a video on that. I remember that you were telling that first you should consult a therapist or maybe a psychologist before you pop in some chemical drugs. We have seen most of the people go in for a psychiatric consultation where they start with antidepressants or sedatives, and which is actually not doing any good.
Yeah.
So how has therapy helped you in your life to evolve?
I think that's a very good question. What therapy did to me was, I think, to add context to your question, what most people struggle with is spending time with themselves. Or I'll go a step beyond. They struggle most with decoding their thoughts, going to the root of why they think a certain way, why they are the certain way, why do I feel so and stuff. For a long period of time, I was depressed. I came to my own conclusion. I did a lot of research back in college. Somehow I came across the term depression.
Did that help?
It actually worsened. I just thought I was depressed, and I was going beyond that term depression. I googled every possible thing. I started doing so many things, and I used to believe that I was depressed. And that eventually or indirectly made me feel like I have all the symptoms that I was reading through. And all the knowledge, it started reflecting my life. Until I started therapy and was taking it serious. I didn't know that, I used to think I was depressed, but it was very later I realized I didn't have depression. I was having grief and anxiety issues. It was a very different shift. And the whole thing that therapy ever did to me was just sit, reflect on the questions, have conversations, and open up. That's it. Or I would just put it this way: it just made me lower my mask that I was putting on, and just genuinely look into myself to understand what deeply is hurting, or what deeply is that you're grieving about, so that you can basically go there and fix things around. But most people, it's just that when something happens, they just go to the psychiatrist because they need a quick fix, and it actually worsens. Because what I have seen is basically once people start taking these depressants or any chemical drugs, it actually worsens. It takes a lot of time. Initially, it's just
excitement comes up first.
Excitement comes up first, and it drops down. You need more dosage, and it just affects very badly. So that is my experience with therapy. The only thing that therapy did to me was just explore more. It made me more aware of myself, my thoughts, and it just made me more comfortable sitting and talking with someone about my feelings and emotions. And I think that's where most people are very
This
difficult.
one, when I came across your videos or your podcast channel and Mallu show, I was quite unaware that how we are getting connected. But now I get the answer for that question, because every term and every sentence you speak was very much deeply in relation to me and the work I do with my migraine patients and my stuff. And we are deeply into psychotherapy works, and I myself am doing psychotherapy, and as a client even. And that has beautifully helped me to come up in life, and to know myself, and to remove at least some of the masks which I was wearing.
Another thing is, as I said, I was brought up in a way where every time I went on to something, my parents made sure that I was independent of any help or anything. I need to figure it out for myself.
Okay.
So it was always just me figuring it out.
Yeah.
I think therapy shifted a perspective in a way where I can also go for help or ask for help, seek things, and maybe step back, or things can happen. It's not maybe certain things are not the way you think. You can be wrong. So there are like a lot of questions you start asking.
And just like people, you always say when we recommend them therapy, people always tell that, sir, headaches are often caused by stress, and we are all stressed. What can we do? What can therapists do? What can, if I go to a counselor or if I go to a psychologist, what will he do? He'll inspire me, he'll motivate me for a few days, but I'm back home or back at work with the same old, all the things that I have to do and I'm not doing, and the guilt feeling and the grief which I'm carrying through. So does therapy actually helps, and how was the journey? Was it a very comfortable one? How was the, what was the deep impact that, therapy will have on your life?
It is definitely not very comfortable, especially as someone who didn't know what therapy was.
Before we go into the discomfortability of it, let us talk about, is it really required?
I genuinely don't know, because I think I'm not like medically qualified enough to say that.
No, I'm asking you whether that is really required in this world.
Yeah. It is very, very required.
But do you see, similar people, having similar issues?
Absolutely. The reason why I started creating videos was, again, I was on a detox from all the social media, internet, everything for almost 6-7 months.
Okay.
This is back in 2020. So during those 6 months, that was a phase where I was deep into therapy and working on myself, workouts, exercises, looking precisely into every way precisely into my life. And during that time, internet, and I was doom scrolling a lot on Instagram. So I wanted to quit that. And I took a break entirely, WhatsApp, Instagram, everything. During that phase, I realized the fact that it is not just me. There are hundreds of thousands of people around me who are struggling on a day-to-day basis to basically be themselves and be with themselves. A lot of issues in my house, family, relatives. I saw this everywhere. And whenever I was trying to speak something, I understood it's a big issue, it's a big taboo. So the main reason why I started creating content was to spread awareness with respect to my journey, as well as the learnings that I have had during that phase. And that is, even till date, the same philosophy I have. Whichever phase that I'm in, every phase we all go through, certain things that we are looking into. At some point of life, it may be relationships. At some point, it might be career. Some point, it might be life. Sometime it might be money. There'll be a lot of things that are going through. So the whole thing that I've been doing from day one is, whatever the phase I'm in, whatever is that I'm aligned towards, I'm just sharing my learnings so that at least people around me, they're aware of things. And I'm sharing it from my experience only. Might not be scientific and stuff, but it might be from an emotional point of view, but still there is an awareness that has been happening. And one thing I realized is that even till date, I think COVID had helped a lot with respect to democratizing therapy, psychology, mental health, and all of that.
And to an extent, to remove the taboo also.
To extent to remove the taboo. But still, even today, I did an episode last week with the founder of Oppam. He's a friend, very close friend of mine, and he's building a platform for exclusive of therapy. And the data was very shocking. with respect to the bookings and stuff and all of that. I think it's a mandatory thing. Today, when someone comes in, I think for the last 5-6 years, I've been very fortunate to be interacting with a lot of people. And one thing I've realized is that most people still today feel it's it's a gimmick and people take money, and beyond all of that there is a lot of it takes a lot of taboo, and it's like taking away patriarchy from your life. It's not, it's like it's not that way, but you're not able to do something about that as well.
So even though some of them have the awareness that maybe I need therapy or maybe therapy might help me, but I've seen a lot of people talking to me, even they have told me on my face that, sir, let us not go there. When I asked about their emotional traumatic experiences which they had in childhood, or maybe the strict parenting which they had, or maybe in physical mental bullying or abuse which they had in their past, and which we had found that it has actually turned out to be one of the root causes for the headaches they are suffering. So how do you explain to those people who just think that why to go back to the scar, where actually it is not a scar, it is an open wound which is not healed? So they don't have the courage to do so.
Yeah, I was speaking to a friend 2 days back, stating an example, same example.
Okay.
Like, as I said before, I'm at a phase where I'm now. I'm going back to all the things that I once started and quit, which still make me very insecure, and which still make me feel like, okay, those are failures and stuff. I'm going back to do those things and make sure that I'm doing it right this time.
So you are learning on the way.
Not just learning on the way, I'm just creating a proof for me that I did, it's not that way. I'm changing the narrative, I'm changing the story. Most people, like for the question that you asked, it is very mandatory for you to go back to places which say hurt you, say destroyed you, or did something to you, and change the narrative, because you're building that narrative. You are the story that you say to yourself. You have to change that story. You can be a hero or a villain in your story, but still you have to choose the narrative. So I am at a phase where, as I said, there are so many things that I did it wrong in my past.
Yes.
Now I'm at a phase where maybe I can go back to certain things and maybe explore that or change the way I think about that particular thing. And it is so liberating. It feels very different, understanding, okay, I was incapable then, but now I'm capable now, and I can change that. And it is very peaceful. Same way, as you said, as I said earlier, I used to think that I was depressed. My root cause was, I used to think the reason for my friend's death was me. It was me that caused the death, and I used to feel very guilty of that. It affected me a lot. I'm genuinely a very, very, very patient person, but back in my college days, I used to feel a lot of issues with respect to anger. It's not all the time. There are phases, like intervals that comes in. Somehow I become like a lot of mood swings. I become rude.
Irritability is coming up,
and all of that happens. And this was the cause. And I was thinking, okay, just because I'm depressed, but I don't know what is the cause of that. And what therapy did for me was try to understand that there are certain things that you can control, there are certain things you cannot control, and the whole narrative was very different when it was when the other side came in. And the same thing is very required, because see, sometimes I've heard people say that I'm never gonna love another person again, or I'm never gonna be in another relationship again, because they felt, say, cheated, or they had a breakup or a heartbreak or something. Most of the time it's not you, or it's not just the entire woman, or say it's not just the whole generalistic thing. It might be that just that context, maybe there is absolutely maybe no control of what the things are. So it is very mandatory for you to go back to the roots, understand why the things are the way they are, or why do you have a certain thought and stuff. And another thing that I do with respect to people is, I don't ask everybody to go to therapist. I ask them, take a piece of paper, write things down. Say there is something called as flow writing. So
We call it journaling also in psychology.
yeah, put an earphone or something.
Yeah.
Say block 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Sit, write.
Right.
Don't put full stop. Just write. Once you have written everything down, read things. Then ask why, and write down. Then ask why, write down. Ask a lot of why, write. And you might feel, or you might come to a point where you realize there are so many things, or there are so many reasons why you think certain things. And if you feel like, if you think that someone can help, it's always better to go to going to a professional than to going to a friend, because a professional might be able to help you scientifically, not say with medicines or say hypnotism and stuff, but ask you right questions and connect you the things. So this is just basically thing I do. I don't ask everybody to go to therapy at first. Sit and write down. You will get a lot more clarity.
This is medically or psychologically called, like the department called this 5 why technique.
Yeah,
We ask at least 5 why questions, one of the other. We do that in our for the patients.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and you were a great proponent of storytelling and the narrative part of it. Can you just explain in short sentences, like, what is storytelling? And we have this misconcept of storytelling is something called faking, or maybe fake till you make it. Is that the same, or storytelling is something different? And how can we change the narrative of the past incidences that we had?
I'll take an example and
Please.
clear that out. It is said that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is what you do when you're scared.
Great.
Most people, I'll take an example of mine. When people look at me, I'm a very confident person. I talk on stage and stuff. Every time before I go to a stage, or say even before I sit here, I know I'm scared, but the story that I'm telling inside is I'm excited, or say I am a little bit agitated because I'm doing an exciting thing. I'm not saying I'm scared. It's just the same thing. I'm just shifting the narrative. It helps a lot. Same way, say every day what you're saying is I'm a failure, or say I'm underconfident, I'm not confident, I'm insecure. That is your body going to believe. But instead, say you start saying, I'm not saying affirmations. Basically what affirmations is changing the narrative.
Yeah.
This is what I understand.
Yeah.
Instead of saying I'm a failure, maybe, okay, I am learning, or say that didn't work out, there is something new to try.
I'm on my path to success.
I'm on my path to success, or something like that. No, I think that is again very hard optimism.
Okay, yeah.
But I'll take it a different way. I'll say I just failed. Okay, I just learned, something like that. You just change the narrative, just shift the perspective. This is basically what it is, right? Ultimately, if I've heard, or I've read, I've seen this also. Psychologically and scientifically, your brain ultimately wants to protect you. So if you say every day something and you want to try different thing, your brain doesn't want you to do that, because it wants to be comfortable.
Be in the comfort zone.
Be in the comfort zone, and you want to be
The
safe.
ancient technique of primitive man used to do this.
Yeah.
Run behind an animal, and if the animal is turning back, he'll go back to this cave so that we are safe.
We are safe. Yeah. So it's always very important to make your brain believe certain things. So that is where stories come in. That is where narratives come in. So you should be telling your brain to believe certain things about you continuously. And I don't mean, say, waking up every morning, looking at the mirror, saying that I'm confident, I'm a millionaire. No, you need proof for that also. You need absolute, evidence of saying those things as well. For example, if every day I wake up in the morning tomorrow and start saying, okay, I want to be a billionaire, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be this, I want to be fit, I want to be this, that. Just saying that alone won't help things. You have to do certain things. You have to move the needle. You have to show up. You have to keep the promises that you made to yourself. There are so many things that goes aligned. But creating that narrative, the different perspective of, being there for yourself and creating an identity, not a label, but creating a version that you genuinely want to be is very, very important, because other than that, who else will, right? Maybe there is a limit to people coming and telling you, I believe in you, or say, you're doing this and that. Nobody does that. I was few days back, there was a farewell in the company, and we have this tradition where when someone leaves, everybody gathers and talk. So it's all good thing of this person, so and so and so and so happens. I was constantly sitting and thinking there, and at the end of the meeting also I said, I'm thinking, why do we do this when someone leaves?
Why can't we do it on
Why
a daily
can't we
basis
do it
when they're here?
when they're here? So I made a tradition for every town hall now and then. We'll randomly
Have a
pick someone,
feedback. Yeah.
come in, and we'll say good things about that particular person, right? It shouldn't be when they leave, right? The same way, if I take the example from here, it shouldn't be when you die, when or it shouldn't be when you're absolutely lost that you sit and talk
Yes.
about this. It should happen consistently. Even when things are not south, you should be there for yourself. So that is why stories and narratives are very, very important.
But what is the role of a family member or a spouse, or maybe their background, a socioeconomic background, where people always blame that, I was not born here. If I was not a wife of this person, or if I was not a daughter of this person, I would have changed my narrative. But till he is there, till I am in this family, till I am in this locality, I'm not able to change the narrative. Is there any truth in that, or we'll be able to an extent?
I think the way we grew up, the family, the environment, everything has a very big role in shaping a person's mindset, perspective, and life. I've read somewhere the first 7 years of life
Definitely
affects or dictates the rest of the life. So it is very, very true. Yes, but at the same time, you cannot control who you're born to. You cannot control where you're born to. You cannot control the place and the non-controllables of where you are and stuff. But you can absolutely control if you want to live there, or live in a particular way or stuff. You have absolute control of that. I've heard something like, it is not your fault where you're born, but it is your fault where you die. Yes. It is up. I think something on that line, and I believe that if you feel like, say your home, say the environment where you are, is doing you a lot of harm, you have absolute control of going away from that,
moving on and
doing something, and you can make that happen.
That line you mentioned, actually we take it in the financial parlance, like
It's not your problem. It was an ad or something.
It's not your fault if you're born poor, but it's your fault if you're dying rich. Dying
poor. Yeah. Same way, I think you have absolute control of how you want to build your life. But people are scared. And it's also another thing. I've read a book called as Blink. Malcolm Gladwell. I'm a very big fan of Malcolm Gladwell. And in that book, he says people know exactly what they want, but they're scared to do, the things that they already know that they should do. I think there is a philosophy that I follow in my life, that I followed in my life. In my first TED Talk was the same topic: jump first, think second. You just jump and think later on, because again, coming back to the brain, your brain always want to protect you. So when you think of pros and cons and advantages, disadvantages, this and that, brain just need one reason to not do things, but 10 reason to do things. Instead, if you flip it, like say 10 reason to not do it and 1 reason to do it, your whole life will change. So absolutely, the environment you are, the people that you're around with, the things that you hear, the ideas that you discuss,
the experiences that we go through,
all of that has very big impact. But you cannot erase your past. You cannot forget your past. You cannot, just completely erase everything that you have been through. You can just take it and create a different version. That's again where the stories and narratives come in. You can start saying a different story. You can build a new life, and it's never too late to build a new life. It's never too old. No one is too old to do something. it's again another propaganda where you have to figure out everything very early, and you have to be so and so. There is no labels, nothing. I the whole way that I look at myself right now is, okay, I'm doing something right now at the moment, but I want to constantly reinvent myself. Like I want to be relevant for myself, not just for the world. I want to be doing things that I feel like that genuinely, honestly make me feel alive every single day. And that might not be the same for say 20 years, 30 years. It might be say for 5 years, something for 10 years, and it can happen. So never feel scared, never be courageous enough to stand up for yourself to build your life. You can choose the person that you live with. Marriage, there is a study that says, you spend most of the time in your life with the person you choose to marry, and that dictates the way you build your life as well. It's very, very, very crucial decision. So if someone marries a person and it doesn't feel right, or say that you have done a bad decision, you shouldn't be afraid to to make the other person understand that. If it doesn't work out, I think both of them should take a decision to make sure that maybe they're not right for each other. For the other person also, it's harming their life very badly. For this person also, they should take a life. So there are things that you can have control on. You can control that. You can do things on that. But for things that you don't have control on, still I think you can create your version of things that you can control, and that is very, very important.
Um, Parting our ways in a marriage, when it's not working out genuinely, it's actually easier said than done.
Yeah.
In our society, especially in India, Indian backgrounds. But we have seen people who have been into relationships, whether it is under the nuptial knot or otherwise, who go on from one relationship to another and have had multiple failures just because they have not worked on themselves.
Yeah.
I've plenty of experiences with working with such people. On this context, do you have a daily ritual, or we often stray away from all these learnings and awareness once we sleep off, and once we wake up, we might have the tendency to go back to the older narrative. So do you have a daily ritual which you can suggest our audience so that they can follow it up, or maybe which will keep us grounded, which will keep us focused on what is the goal, or where are we directed to, or where are we walking on to?
With respect to relationships, I would say, at the moment in my marriage, I'm a very happy person. I've never been more happy than this ever in my life. That is something that I have realized after marriage. And I would say I was very fortunate to marry that person. And before getting married to her, before getting engaged to her, I spent nearly, say, 8-9 months of my life learning about relationships. Say, reading books.
Most people don't do this.
Most people don't do that because I was very clear. I had previous experiences which didn't work out in a lot of relationships and a lot of things that I was looking into and stuff. And I generally doesn't mean romantic again. Friendships, relationship with my parents, relationship with myself, my colleagues, and everything. So I'm a very keen observer. I mention myself, if I were to put myself in a word, I would say seeker. I'm always seeking something. So at a particular point of time, I was fully into relationships. I was reading books. One book that literally changed the way I look at relationships was 5 Love Languages. And that changed the way that I was looking at people. And there are so many concepts that come in there. So I spend a lot of my time understanding where I need to improve in relationships, because it's always the other person is not working, but we don't look into our contribution or our role in any relationships.
Yes.
So I want to be the best version of myself when I go to the other person. So that is something, the groundwork that I did. And once I got married, I made sure that I had made peace with all my past traumas, and that doesn't affect my relationships that I'm even today. Like, as with the example that you said, for most people, what happens is, in the current relationship, the past relationship affects a lot, and that creates a lot of issues. So most of the things, the patterns, the comparisons, all of that come in. So I make sure that I focus a lot on small things. Even today, whether it is relationships or goals, it's everyday small things that compounds on a longer run. So if I were to again come back to relationships, I make sure that, there are very little things that you can do. For example, say, kissing her to work, just going for work, or saying, coming back to,
For a hug
and, just spending some time, or say, having a conversation. There are like very, very little small things, holding hands, say, writing a letter, say, writing a message, or maybe, creating something and sending it to her. So during the day, say, if I go to office, maybe say I leave at say 9-10 o'clock, I come back at say 7-8 o'clock, or maybe some days even after that. I make sure that I remind her that I'm there. It's not very difficult thing. So maybe I'll take a picture and send, okay, I'm here. Maybe I'll send a selfie. Say at least 5, 6, 7 times, I make sure that, I remind her. That is enough for them. Say, I keep connected. I just keep reminding the same thing. Maybe it's small little things. Maybe I'll just call and say I love you, and just, and I've not been this person, but this something I've learned. Plus, she also had done her work or her role. Her part of this is making me an expressive person. I've never been an expressive person, but she changed that thing. Made me a more expressive person, express my emotions, understand my emotions better. So it's a give and take thing, but still, I would say, focusing a lot on very little things. Even if it's a goal, if it's the goal that you're working on. Say, I have my wallpapers over there or somewhere. Say sometimes, it'll be the projects that I work on. I name in a way that it would every time remind me of what it is. For example, we are working on Project Purple. There is a project that we're working on. I named it Project Purple. The name that I got, the first iPhone project that Apple did was named as Project Purple. So we connected that backward.
Okay.
So there are certain things, small things that you do every day. Might feel like very little, but those very little small things constantly done every day, it reminds you of things. Just being aware is enough. That's it. Like about your goals, people, whatever it is, just being aware is enough. And do things that would make you do that. And that is how I do it. Other than that, I am not, big into, say, traditional ways of, these practices. Like, for example, I write a lot, but I don't journal. Like, I need a notebook and pen for whatever it is, whether it's a meeting, whether it is a conversation that I'm having with work. Like, however it is, I need a notebook and pen. I write a lot. Anytime I go stuck, I sit and type. Just do it. Flow writing. It's crazily helpful. But beyond that, it's not very big things. It's very, very small things that really compounds.
Talking about your married life, does that mean that you don't fight with her anymore, or you don't have any issues in between? And is it all like heavenly and phlegmatic?
No, definitely not. But I would say we haven't fought yet.
Okay.
But yes, there are and there were moments and days where we have not agreed upon things, and where we had to talk it out and stuff. But say screaming, shouting, cursing, no, never. I respect her. She respect me. Anytime, every time when things, say some things go wrong, I make sure that, I'm not having my ego on check. I keep it aside. So it's I or her, both of us, we genuinely understand that. And we make sure that we try to solve it then and then. We have a rule that if something happened, we have to make sure that it is clear today. It's not kept for tomorrow. We have to make sure that we are on the same page, and we are going to bed hugging and, after a kiss every day. That is very mandatory. So that is a rule that we follow.
That's a ritual basically.
That's it. I think, that keeps in check. And it's not always rainbows and sunshines. There are, our own ways of, bad days and good days and stuff. Yeah.
Good to acknowledge that.
Yeah, it's very good to acknowledge that, because there is a video that I have seen. A photographer spots a couple on street and ask the couple about how much you rate, and the girl says about the husband he's a 10 on 10 and what the reason, and the boy says someday she's a 1, someday she's a 100, and she was confused, and he says if I don't deserve to, if I don't like her on her 1, I don't deserve to be on 100. Same way, I think the same way, like, because it's not every day I'm on my 100%. Some days I'm 1,000, some days I'm just 1, but it is just the understanding of some days she feels very, then I come in and make it 100. So we all have, our own ups and downs, but we acknowledge that, but we make sure that we are a team. It's not two people fighting, it's we fighting for us.
Yeah.
So genuine. And, Rizwan, you're a podcaster, digital influencer, you have your own business running up, you're into so many projects, you have your own talk show, and as an academician, maybe an investor, so many things you are on. And how do you create a work-life balance amidst this? Do you cut your work from 9 to 5 or?
No, I don't believe in work-life balance. That term actually turns me off a lot.
Interesting.
But I believe in priorities. So every day for me, work is very important. It's a very important priority. Family is very important. It's a very important priority. My relationships, friends, these are all very important. On every day, work is not 100%. Some days relationships are 100%. Some days health are 100%. So according to the priorities for a day, for a time, I adapt, I shift. Sometimes I have to be fully with my family. Sometimes I have to be fully on work. My family understands that as well. So I have built my life on that. It's not a balance, but it's purely on priority. And I manage that way. And of course, it's not like, I would say, I'm not perfect at all the places. There are hundreds of thousands of things that I've worked on work. There are again so much that I have to do on friendships. I am very bad at checking in on friendships. I am a person who is present where I am. If I come here, I'm present here. So I need to change that, I know. But still, balancing it out, okay, 10 things, I have to do all the 10 things the same way equally, I don't believe in that. You show up where you need to be and you do it absolutely 100% present there. If I'm with my wife, I'm 100% present with my wife. If I'm with my team, I'm 100% present there, and I make sure that they feel that as well. Just not I think that I'm present, I make sure that I feel that I am present for them as well. That's the only thing that I need to do.
Now I'm feeling so home here because my mentor Rajiv Talreja calls this as and philosophy and life. Like you can have
my mentor too.
You can have your work, your life, your spirituality, your finance, everything, health.
It's not or.
Yeah, it's not an or life.
Yeah.
It's an and.
It's
life.
not and everything. I need everything. I need my health to be in check. I need my food. I need my lifestyle. I need my fun, business, everything to be taken care of. And nobody can say that cannot be possible because you can try, and it may not be equal, but.
As far as a doctor, I am concerned about my patients where people tell me that, sir, can I get a shot? Like I can't take medicines 3 times a day because I'm working. I am like, what? You can't take about 30 seconds out of your work to pop in a pill, which is without which your productivity is going so low. And they are so irregular with medicines, and they blame their work, they blame their kids, they blame their family. And I always recommend that you watch the and video, and life, so that it is not an or life you are having, and it can be managed in a better way.
Yeah.
And most of my clients, especially in the migrant community, live with this kind of a life where it is mostly uncertain. They don't know when the pain triggers. They don't know what happens next. They don't know what will shoot up the trigger pain. They have a life of uncertainty, and they have to call off plans. They have to call off trips. They can't promise the dates. They can't promise the appointments and schedules. So what do you have for people who have all kinds of uncertainty coming up ahead in their lives? I've heard your TEDx speak, you're talking about a miracle box or a magical box, where you know what is happening and it's a boring and depressive life.
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine someone giving you a box and you already know what's inside. It's very boring. You won't be excited to open it.
Yeah.
But say, why do you like magic? Like you go to a magic show. Why do you like it? Because you don't know what
The
happens
element
next.
of the unknown.
There is an element of surprise. There is an element of uncertainty. So life is full of uncertainty. Life is full of surprises.
But if that is too much, how will a person be able to handle it?
I think you have to train yourself to be adaptable. It's not 1 plus 1 equal to 2. It's 1 plus 1 equal to 3. That is life.
Do you say that it's often trainable?
It's very trainable. It's a skill. It's a muscle.
It's a skill, yeah.
You have to start accepting the reality. Start accepting that not everything might go as planned. It's just like, businesses, certain people come to me, say for investments and stuff, and they'll say, this is what you project for the next 6 months, say for the next 5 years and stuff. Many a times I have told them, leave 3 years and stuff. Say, give me what you are planning to do for the next 3 months, and come back after 3 months. Projections, it may either go upwards or go downwards.
Yeah.
So there is no guarantee. So it's purely not in your control. Not everything is in your control. So you have to start accepting that, adapting that. And see, I think there is beauty in life living the uncertain way. Because that is when life becomes life, and life becomes surprising, life becomes exciting. Imagine, waking up tomorrow. I'm not saying, imagine waking up tomorrow, I somehow become a lady and you feel like, okay, wow, surprise. No, I'm not saying that. There are so many things in your control, but still you work on that and you leave the rest and let, that life show up for itself and help you build yourself, right? Because I think when the best thing that uncertainty does is it creates you, it builds you. If everything is in control, like a lab, you have all the environments, conditions and everything set, you exactly know what can happen, what to happen, or what is predicted, you already know. But that might be helpful for, say, research and medicine and stuff. But anything, if you know exactly, or if everything is in check, I think it will be a very boring place to be, because we wake up every day because of, say, one or more particular reason.
Yeah.
Everybody has a why behind. Everybody has a reason why they wake up every morning. And if it's the same every day, I think you'll feel tired, you'll feel burnout. And that is where burnout, emotional exhaustion, all of that comes in. Say every day you wake up and you know that you're going to eat the same breakfast today. You'll not feel like you want to have a breakfast. Maybe first few days you'll eat, then you'll drop in. So you have to train. You need to know that, okay, something goes south. It means you need to act, you need to step in, you need to be you. And it helps you, understand a lot more about yourself. It's not definitely easy. It's definitely not easy, but it's definitely trainable, because that is what, say, I've seen Navy SEALs training, Indian commandos, and all those black ops and all of that. They are put through a lot of very rigorous, uncertain, things, and people who come out of that, only those, the creamy layer, they are selected for certain things, and that is the reward for what you go through uncertainty. If I've never been a certain person, I don't know. I'm still not a very certain person. But when you go through these uncertainties, ultimately you reach a point where you can kind of understand, you say calculated risk, right?
Yeah.
So you can actually take a calculated risk. You somehow figure out a knack or a way, a framework of yours. You understand, okay, this can go this way, this can go this way. You become better at judgment and stuff. But before that, you have to go through all sort of.
And most of our viewers might be wondering, what is this why in the life? What is this why for a homemaker or a person who is employed and salaried? Is there a great why that we should pursue always? And what do you mean by the terms like self-awareness or self-orientation? Is it more towards a selfish kind of a life?
No, definitely not. I don't think that way. Okay, coming to why. for most people, they think they know the why they live, then they live.
Okay.
But I think you live first, and somewhere at some point you realize, okay, this is something that I want to do. And again, there is again a misconception that if you find something, that is something that you're going to do for the rest of your life.
The ultimate why.
Ultimate why. I don't think there is something like that.
Can always evolve and
Can always change.
something else can get.
If at all there is something that you can call it as a purpose or a why for anyone and everyone collectively, that I believe is you come to this place and you leave this place better than you came here. You make it better and you leave. That is the only, I think, common why for everybody is there. And during this journey, you come across, certain points, certain things. For example, I met a person who was in corporate. His early life motto was to, study hard, get into a good job, get into places and stuff. He did that. Reaching that point, he realized that this is not what I want to do now. He quit that job and he went on to travel. And during that travel, he realized, okay, I just don't want to travel. I need to get into these camps, a lot of people, refugee camps and all of that. He went on to that refugee camps and all of that. Eventually, he realized that it is not just that I need to be among them. I need to capture this and share it to the world. He became a photographer. And once after he became a photographer, he realized that, okay, I just know not just photography, I want to make sure that I'm around people. He started hosting camps and stuff. So it can change. Like it can change a lot. I don't know if you've read the book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Yes, of course, Sharma.
Same story.
Yeah.
Right, similar, like, a person goes there and drops in. So your, your pursuit, your purpose, your why, your karma, whatever it is, it can change, it can evolve it based on the different, pursuits and the phase of life you are. For a person who doesn't have food on table, the purpose of life is to put food on the table.
Yes.
But for someone who has food on the table, it is to maybe eat healthy food or, a tastier food. For someone who has that, it might be exclusiveness. So depending on the phase of life you are, what you have or what you think, the purpose, the why things, it may change. But it's just that the clarity is created in the emotion, in the action, not in thoughts or being idle. You just have to move around. I wouldn't say go with the flow, no. You observe, you realize what you're capable of, what you're incapable of, what are your boundaries, what are your non-negotiables and stuff. And that is what I think was like the self-awareness is. Self-awareness is not having absolute control of your body and stuff, mind and no. I think that is, maybe you can read in Buddha, the Buddha had control of going, say, into the brain and having conversations and maybe meditating for hours and days and stuff. But I think that is not self-awareness. Self-awareness is having absolute clarity of, say, why you are the way like you are, or say, what are you capable of? Say, what are you not capable of? What are your truths? What are the truths that you have been hiding from yourself? What are, the lies that you have been saying to yourself? Why do you think certain things certain way? Or, just understanding certain things about yourself, that is self-awareness. And if I was speaking to a person, a coach, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, she's been practicing, I think, close to 20 years or something. During that episode, she spoke the most about self-awareness, how to build and stuff. And at the end, I asked, what are you working on? The answer she had was, I'm working on my self-awareness. Because it's just that at any point, any phase, depending on the experiences, the way you act, the way you behave, it's very different. Right? For example, there is a saying, the way you look at one thing during war is different
The way you look at
when you look at during peace, right? So you need to understand, in this context, why did I do certain way? In this context, why did I behave certain way? Just that is self-awareness. Just clearly looking at the patterns and ways and thoughts and stuff that is you, I think that was self-awarenesses. I don't know about self-orientation. That is a different thing or not.
And what about self-care? Because most of the people, like homemakers and especially our Indian women, think that to take care of themselves is something called as selfishness, where they have to be selfless moms, and they have to ignore their health, ignore their career, ignore their everything for the sake of their family, or maybe husband, or maybe something else. So what is your thought on that?
No, I think taking care of family, taking care of, say, themselves, it's all a choice. That is how I believe, I see. But it's mandatory. Like, to take care of yourself is very mandatory, because nobody's going to do that for yourself. One thing. And another thing is, if you don't speak, or if you don't share, I'm sharing a different perspective. If you don't share that you are tired, nobody can say, if you are having a fever, maybe a doctor can put a thermometer and check and say, okay, you have 99 or 100 or 101 fever. But say if you're tired, you're emotionally exhausted.
There's
say
no thermometer which says that.
There is no thermometer that says that. You have to say, or you have to share that I am tired, I am this, I am that, I need to sleep.
Not only physically, maybe emotionally.
Maybe mentally, emotionally, everything. So that way, it is just you who can and who knows about you, your body, your mind, and everything. So it is very mandatory to look into that. And beyond that, say, there is no one size fit for all again. So you cannot, there may be certain people, for example, I'll take me. I work like, say, 3 weeks, 4 weeks straight, full work I'll do.
You take a break?
I'll shut down. Maybe I'll come to a point where I'm fully done. Maybe I'll take a day or two off. Then I'll be like, okay, I'm reset. Then I go again. Maybe next time for 3 weeks. Down. Maybe next time it's for 6 weeks. So I have this way. I know my body that way. And I adapt accordingly. For some, it might be, say, they need weekends. Right? I don't like weekends. I work on Sundays, I work on Saturdays, every day I work. But for some, it might not be like that. So you just need to understand what works for yourself, and you have to start caring for yourself that way. Same way, I'll connect this with relationships. In the book 5 Love Languages, Gary Chapman talks about love tank, okay, emotional tank. So in order for me to understand that I'm being loved, I need to be loved in the way that I understand. For example, for some it might be words. So in order for me to understand or to think that I am loved from the other person, I should hear words like, okay, I love you, or say I care about you. That is very important. Same way, I believe that your body also has a tank, emotional tank. So your body needs care in that specific way that your body think it understands. So for that, you need awareness, which works, what doesn't work, and start taking care of that.
It often helps in the couple relationship also. When we are aware about our love language, and when we share with our spouse, we have had, myself, my wife have had surprises that we were never doing the love language with the other person was wanting to.
Yeah.
We were doing our own language. I was talking in Hindi.
I've heard, I've got a lot of message saying, when you post content, you get a lot of message with a lot of questions, and most of my DMs are mostly flooded with relationship questions or queries. And mostly I understand that either it is both of them not knowing what they actually want, or one person knowing the thing and the other person not knowing what this person wants. Same as you said. I used to think that I had one specific way of my love languages. So only after getting married, I realized that it was not that, it was something else.
Okay.
So it took me again.
That's a beautiful awareness.
It's a beautiful awareness. So I had to reinvent myself, start to believe, oh, it's not that. I need this way. Same way, because of this awareness, I started looking into her way of understanding love as well. I started giving that way, and now it goes that way.
I'd like to move it a bit personal. Have you ever felt pain, either physical or emotional or mental pain? And if yes, how have you come out of that, or what has it taught you? No, I just heard about you going through a painful situation where you had to, part with your friend in an accident, and you were feeling guilty about that incident, and you were, blaming yourself for that incident. And how did you actually come out of that pain?
I have
Or
not
maybe if you
once.
have another thing where you're having physical pain or something, and you have come out of that, you can
No,
just
physical pain. I don't think many. I've been very fortunate
God bless.
to not have physical pains, but mental and emotional pains, yes, a lot of times. And what I have realized, the only way to come out of pain that works for me is to go through it,
Beautiful.
and come out.
Beautiful.
Uh, I've tried to take shortcuts, nothing worked. But you go through it, you come out that's it. And again, as I said in the beginning, you can't forget or you can't erase things. You can only live through that. And I think that makes you more human, and that makes you more you. And that is how you realize that how you will be there for yourself when things goes out, how it is to um, not have anyone or anything around you. It's just you, and you realize that this too shall pass, and how it is to go through it, and what is your limit, and what is your capacity of, say, tolerance, and how do you uh, you know look at things and all of that. It's just that it's very simple for me. Just go through it. I don't know what will happen. You know, yesterday I was speaking to a person. For him, is like he's very blessed with a lot of friends, a lot of people. So his one thing, sometimes he told me that sometimes he think that he knows that someday all of these people will die. So how will it be? I too think the same thing, because there are a lot of people that I'm very blessed with, that I have in my life. My parents, my wife, my siblings, my co-founders, my team. I'm very fortunate to be surrounded with great people, and you know, it hurts me a lot when people leave from the company. I still remember early, during the early phase, I think till 1 or 2 years, every time when someone leaves, I used to not attend the farewells, because it hurt me a lot. It's a very emotional pain for me, and I used to not attend farewells. But once a day, a person leaves, one of my early employees leaves, and I didn't attend the farewell. I just went in, came out very quickly, and went in to do something else. She came to me, and said, "Rizwan, I'm leaving." It's like, okay, yeah, fine. I want you to know the reason why I'm leaving. So I was like, okay, tell me. That is something I'm more interested in. She told me, I wish I was more appreciated.
Okay.
That moment, it was like the time froze for me. And I was thinking, retrospecting entirely behind. This is one of the person, I would say, who was most appreciated, most given opportunities, most considered, most valued. One of those people.
Okay.
And I was still thinking, why would this person
Think like
this way and leave? That was a horrible moment for me. And I think for 2-3 days, the only thing that was in my mind is what happened. It was just, complete recap of the whole, say, 1-2 years that person was with us. And I realized again, I came back to the point was, okay, maybe we appreciated, but was not in the way
they wanted.
they wanted or they understood. And it was pain, but going through that pain, I came to that conclusion, came to that awareness, came to that learning. Okay, there is something that needs to be fixed. We changed that, and I'm very proud to say that I never heard something ever in the company where someone left the company because they felt less appreciated, they felt less valued. They left because of many reasons, but
The
not
point
this.
taken.
Yeah, the point taken. But for that, you have to go through it. only if you go through it, you know how it is, whether it is good or bad, both.
I always tell my patients that these kind of headaches and the chronic pains which people are suffering are actually the universe's way of putting you through pain, and so that you give attention to what is hurting, give attention to what is, haunting still, and give attention to what needs to be healed inside of you. So when we go through a process of healing, inner healing, and maybe through psychotherapy or stuff like that, people heal completely, and once they see that wound, they heal it, they are out of the pain forever, which most painkillers don't help eventually. And one last question: what is your message to the viewers about the perspective that you have in your life as a seeker?
Non-stop learning. Like, never stop learning. I'm a firm believer.
LLL, lifelong
learning. Yeah, I'm a firm believer that the day you stop learning, you die. I connect this with death again. I think, I don't know, like, if at all you get access to someone who's dead and you can make them speak, I think you'll realize that the moment before their soul left, I think they were still learning about either, how you die, or maybe, those things. So the day you die, I think, the day you stop learning, I think you die even when you are alive. For most people, learning only happens in college. And for most people, they die. I think
once they graduate.
Self-aware learning stops when they are in college. And for some, it starts after college. And however it is. But you should never stop learning. I am always seeking something. At any point of time, I'm always into something. It could be narcotics, it could be health, it could be drugs, it could be light, it could be... And I'm always reading something. I'm always looking into something, trying to understand something. Because there is a lot of wisdom around the world. And again, most people look at learning or look at seeking knowledge only in the direction that they go through. But one thing I have realized is that you can change your life better when you look at other vicinities and bring that into your direction. For example, if you are running a business in one particular industry, you learn about everything about that particular industry and you build that. And it's just the same playbook that happened. But when you take something from different industries and a club, it becomes a new thing. It becomes very original and it becomes much more beautiful and nice. So I look life at that way. And I want to genuinely try to learn anything and everything possible till the day I die. That is what excites me. At the moment, the most important thing that excites me is people. I think for the past 5-10 years has been the same thing. I've been always constantly learning people, learning the stories, learning the way, why people think a certain way, why people are the certain way and stuff. So that had taught me a lot about being human, embracing one's own self, mistakes and thoughts and stuff. It's not easy to be human, but I think it becomes easier when you start seeking more about life and more about yourself and the world and why you are the certain way. It all ultimately comes back to you, and you realize that you can be a hero or a villain, and that seeking should always go on.
Thank you for that beautiful reflection, and so much learning I'm having in this 1 hour.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And before we leave, what is in the pipeline next for you? Or how can our viewers or the audience get more from you on these lines? Maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's a book, maybe it's something upcoming up.
I have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
As I said, I started that channel purely with the goal of sharing my learnings and the journey that I go through. I'm still doing it. It's a pure reflection. I create videos for myself, basically. So at any point of time, I come through a certain experience or a scenario or some people or context or something, I try to create videos on that. I'm posting 2 videos every week. I think I'm again bringing in people and having conversations. Other than that, again, going through reflections and sharing the same things as well. So that is a place that I can find me. And other than that, there are again a lot of things on pipeline. Just getting started. So yeah.
You were, you were featured on College Times and Times of India and Malayalam Manorama.
Yeah.
And what next on the international platform you have got?
There are few things I cannot disclose, but yeah, soon enough there'll be a lot more things.
Exciting.
Thank you.
So
Thank
that
you
is
so
the
much.
point that we wind up this heads
Yeah.
up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Rizwan.
Alexia.
As we close today's episode, what stands out from Rizwan's story is not just his success, but the path he took to get there. He faced 12 failed businesses, countless rejections, and moments when giving up would have been an easier option. Yet each setback have become a stepping stone for him. Each failure a lesson, and every effort brought him one step closer for the life he was dreaming of. For those of you listening, especially if migraine has made you feel stuck, hopeless, and tired of trying, remember this. Rizwan kept showing up even when things didn't work out. Rizwan's story is a proof that no struggle is permanent. No setback can define you. So take heart, keep going, and know that your story, just like Rizwan's, can have courage, strength, and transformation. This is Dr. Alex Kurian signing off from Heads Up. Together, let's keep walking the path of awareness, talking, and hope beyond migraine.